friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katrina Kofed. I'm a nutritionist and health coach, and today I want to walk you through one of my most highly requested video topics, which is how the heck do you cook tofu so that it tastes good? I feel like I get this question all the time from Instagram and TikTok, and I just haven't really done a full in-depth video before about how I love to cook tofu. If you guys know me, if you've been around, you know that I've been plant-based for over 9 years now, which is crazy, which means I eat a lot of tofu. So today I want to show you how I make one of my favorite recipes from scratch with a regular block of tofu. We are going to be making teriyaki tofu today. So before we get into it, I want to walk you through what are the different types of tofu, how do you prep your tofu for what you want to make, and then I'm going to show you the ingredients that we're going to use for this recipe, and then we will get into it. For this recipe, I'm making teriyaki tofu, and the way that I like to make most of my tofus is by just using firm or extra firm. So this one is firm. Whatever brand you find in your grocery store, I always get that question of like, which brand should I use? Honestly, I really am not picky. I feel like brand selection just varies depending on wherever you're buying from. So I always say, as long as you choose non-GMO. Do you see this guy? Okay, so we have a guest in the kitchen. Let me get him down. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so no cats in the kitchen today. But all of that to say, as long as you choose a tofu that is non-GMO, and almost all of them are. So that's the only thing that's really important to look out for is tofu is a soybean product, which is totally fine. Soybeans are actually really beneficial for your health. They're high in protein and it's a great plant-based source of protein. So all of that to say, choose firm or extra firm for most types of recipes. And the way that I like to prep my tofu is by prepping it in the air fryer. So if you are familiar with cooking tofu, you might have seen something like a tofu press. You might see people like draining their block of tofu and then like stacking it with a bunch of heavy books on top, like all these different things. You can totally do that, you guys, if you prefer. I frankly am kind of lazy and I love my air fryer, so I like to kind of dehydrate my tofu a little bit in the air fryer first, so I'll show you how I do that. And the reason that this is really helpful, and what you need to understand before you cook with tofu, is that it's really waterlogged, okay? So a lot of people will complain that tofu is like mushy or it's too chewy and it just like tastes kind of like weird and gross. It's not crispy enough and it doesn't have like enough flavor. So, excuse you. So the way that we give it more flavor and the way that we give it a better texture is by removing the water from the tofu. So again, you can either press it by draining it and then, which again, I'll show you in a second, and putting some heavy objects on it, and you leave that for a couple hours, or if you're lazy like me and you want to make dinner within the next 20 minutes, what you do is you take this and you put it in your air fryer or in the oven if you don't have an air fryer, okay? So all of that to say, I'm going to walk you through how I prep my tofu. And then let me just show you briefly the ingredients that we're using for this dish. So we're going to air fry it for probably like 10 to 12 minutes for one block of tofu. We just want to remove some of the water from it so that it holds its form and it's ready to absorb the sauce in the pan. So we're going to transfer it to the pan afterwards. So real quick, what I like to use for this recipe is the Trinity: salt, pepper, garlic powder, nothing crazy here. I always season all of my tofu to start with this. And then to kind of like give it that glaze and that like caramelized finish, I love to use the Soyaki from Trader Joe's. If you watch my Trader Joe's YouTube haul, you will see this was like one of the top purchases in that haul. I love this stuff. It's like soy sauce with teriyaki sauce. I don't know, it tastes amazing. If you don't have that, you can use regular soy sauce. You can see I'm almost out. You can also use Bragg's liquid aminos or coconut aminos if you are looking for a gluten-free alternative. Whatever you want to use for that is totally fine. And then I like to finish it off with a bit of sweet chili sauce, okay? So you can replace both of these for whatever teriyaki sauce you have of choice. This is like very interchangeable. Use whatever sticky Asian style marinade that you want, because I promise it will turn out amazing. But we're gonna add these at the very end, and let's get started by chopping the tofu. So first things first, we are just gonna cut into this, and honestly you guys, normally I do this over the sink, so I'm just gonna transfer. So I am just draining this, and now we've drained the water out, and you can see the tofu is pretty wet. My hands are clean. So here you can see raw block of tofu. It's wet. Okay, we got to get this water off. This is a clean dishcloth. Okay, you guys can use a clean dishcloth or you can use paper towel. we like to try to be sustainable, so we are using a clean dishcloth. And because this is extra firm tofu, it's already pretty, like, I didn't have to squeeze that much water out of it. So you can see if I squeeze a little more, a little bit comes out. However, because we're putting this in the air fryer, it's not the most important thing, okay? So you just wanna like wipe off the water. So now I'm gonna show you how I cut it. So I like to place it on the tall end, and then I cut into like 3 sandwich style splits, if you will, okay? And you can chop this like however you want. And then I make like 3 more slices. And then I like to do a little diagonal chop. Again, you guys, however you want to cut it, whatever floats your boat, that's what matters. And then you can see I've got these cute little tofu pieces, and they are ready to go in the air fryer. So let me heat up my air fryer and show you how I do it. Okay, so we've got the tofu in the air fryer. I'm gonna pop this in for probably 10 to 12 minutes. I'll show you the time when it's done. Nova, do you wanna play? Come on, come on, come on. You can do more than that. Come on. See, now he doesn't do it.
He's shy. Okay.
Are you camera shy? Are you camera shy?
Oh.
Oh. We air fried the tofu for 7 minutes on high heat, 400 degrees Fahrenheit in the air fryer. And this is how it looks when it's all done. So I'm just gonna be transferring it to the pan. So you can see it's still kind of floppy, but it's definitely like dehydrated quite a bit. So now it's ready to soak up the sauce. If you guys want your tofu more crispy, you can definitely leave it in the air fryer for longer. To me, this is like a good texture because I like it to still be a little soft. So it's really your preference, whatever you wanna do. But this is how I like to do it. And I have not added any oil or seasonings yet, so we are gonna do that here in the pan. I'm gonna show you in just a second. Okay, so So we are just gonna stir it up a little bit, and I'm just gonna let this cook for probably like 2 minutes.
So normally when I've made tofu, I like cube it pretty small, and I feel like that makes it a little less satisfying. So I kind of like the idea of like the bigger chunks.
Yeah, I definitely think like I really like cubes too, but I honestly am like lately obsessed with this little triangle shape. I really think it just depends. And that's one of the things I like about tofu too, is like you can cut it into whatever shape you want. So you can do like longer, thinner slices for like sandwiches or wraps, and pieces like this for more of like a teriyaki bowl. And I feel like just the different textures of tofu and the different shapes that you can make with it really help change the flavor, and too, it changes how the sauce sticks to it, you know? So like if you have cubes, that might be better in like a wrap or a burrito or something, because you can have like small cubes that are more coated in sauce, whereas this is like kind of the main piece of the meal, if you will, and then there's like your side veggies and your grain. So it really just kind of depends on how you're using it and what your preference is. Okay, so they've been cooking now for probably like 2 minutes on this side, so I'm just flipping them, and again, we are just on medium heat. And you can see some of them are a little more crispy, some aren't. I'm really fine with it because I'm just gonna let them cook a little longer so they soak up a bit more of the seasoning and get a little crispier. And that's pretty much it. And then I'm probably gonna leave them on medium-low heat for a little bit. And then at the very end, we're gonna add our marinades and our glazes. Because if you add those too soon, usually there's sugar in them and it will burn and it will char and it's not good. So whatever sauces you're adding, you definitely wanna wait until it's like to your desired crispiness level before you add anything else, because otherwise it will burn and it's not gonna be pretty and you're not gonna be happy with the outcome. So I've been cooking the other side. It's probably been about like a solid 4 minutes. You can see this side is a little crispier, which I am okay with because this is honestly like how I want it, you guys. So again, however you want to do it is fine. I can't get that piece of wood. But now I'm going to turn off the heat completely, and the pan is still hot. We're going to add some of this. If I were to measure, I would say probably like a tablespoon and a half, but I don't measure. I measure with my heart. So we are just going to said, you guys, it's a little crispy. If you don't like your tofu this crispy, you don't have to leave it to cook this long. I really like it this way. And the best way that I can describe like cooking your tofu is cook it like you would cook meat. So if you are making chicken, you would never boil chicken unseasoned and then like serve it to someone for dinner. That would be the grossest thing ever. So the same thing with tofu. Same way you brown meat, you want to like brown your tofu and cook it properly on both sides, right? And like add seasonings, add marinades, add sauces and spices, whatever you need to make it flavorful. We are just gonna plate. I've got some jasmine rice here. I have some green beans that I just cooked up. So we're gonna plate this and I will show you the finished product.
Still sizzling.
I know.
Jesus.
Is that good or bad?
No, it's great. They're just screaming.